What's up, my friends? Jason Woodland back again with Always the Journey TV. We are on episode number 56 now, rocking and rolling and having a good time and having all kinds of amazing people on the show and getting to learn more about their backgrounds and what got them involved in the things and work that they do. As I've stated, this TV show podcast is all about spotlighting people out there in the community to learn more about their businesses, their art, their jobs, their music, their side hustles, their event spaces, and everything in between. Today, I'm extremely excited about introducing to you a very dear friend. We've known each other for many, many years. We even had her as the photographer at our wedding, my friend Teresa Flowers. She is an internationally recognized photographer and artist based in Portland, Oregon. Teresa loves being in the sun, traveling, making music, painting, surfing, and riding bikes. Her artwork has been published in Nakid Magazine, Shots Fine Art Photography Magazine, Photo District News, and Black and White Magazine. She was presented with the prestigious Fine Art Photographer of the Year Award at the International Photo Awards, as well as the People's Choice Award in Photography. She received the Mayor's Award in Visual Art, and her work has been exhibited and published internationally. Teresa is sought after a freelance photographer who has shot in New York Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week, and has produced numerous editorials, line sheets, and lookbooks for companies throughout the whole world. She was featured in Women's Business Magazine as one of 30 women to watch in business. I could go on and on, but instead, I'm going to have her on the show, and we'll be able to learn directly from her. So, what's up, my friend? How you doing?
Hi, Jason. I'm doing amazing. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I'm very happy that you're on the show and that we get to learn more about how you work and your background and all that. Today, as we talked about, we in Salt Lake City got blasted with snow, and you're up in Portland. And how's the weather up there?
It's dark and rainy. Imagine that.
So pretty much normal.
Pretty normal. It's gotten really cold in the last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the rain is okay, but when it gets really, really cold, it's cold and rainy. So
Yeah. Well, the thing that's nice about Utah, as you know, because you were originally from here, is that we might get blasted with snow and it's really intense, but then we've got blue sky right now, and it's really nice and quite pretty.
I miss it.
Yeah.
I have to say, I love the snow. I love the sun. I love the mountains, and the best snow on earth is in Utah. So,
Agreed with that.
yeah.
Even though I don't ski or snowboard, maybe make a snow angel here and there, but other than that, it's just nice to photograph, isn't it?
Yeah, and I grew up snowboarding. I was on the American women's snowboarding team, so I got to ride almost every single day, and it's one of the highlights of my life. So,
Oh, that's awesome. I actually didn't realize that. That's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it was really, really fun. I got to travel, and actually, the first time I ever ended up in Portland is because the team came up to Mount Hood for the summers to train. So I got to come down to Portland and go, oh my gosh, all these people have tattoos, and it's just like such a cool little town, especially when you're in your teens and you're from like conservative Utah and come to Portland and everyone's super cool. So I was just thinking as I was driving over the bridge today, because there's, a lot of beautiful bridges and rivers here. I was like, oh my gosh, I live in Portland. Like, I never planned on moving here. I mean, when I was, in my teens, I was like, just thought it was cool and I'd love to move here. But, it's just kind of awesome. I live here. It's one of those things you just have a moment and you're like, oh my gosh, this is my home.
Oh, that is awesome. Plus you have Voodoo Donuts, and that's a fun place to visit.
Who doesn't like donuts?
That's what I'm saying. So, Teresa, I want to have my listeners and viewers learn more about who you are as a person and where you sort of came from. What was some of your original inspirations that got you into the whole world of art and photography all to begin with?
So I'm a Pisces, and Pisces are very imaginative and deep and expressive. And my mother was an artist and my father was a musician. And my mom was just super supportive. And I grew up seeing her paintings, and she just was just super supportive of it. And I feel like I was born to be an artist. It was something that I just never questioned, just always just stepped into naturally, and just completely, as soon as I started doing photography, I was just all in. So
Wow. And what age would you say that you really started getting into it?
I started painting. So I started painting and drawing in like fourth grade.
Mhm.
And I would basically draw people in the class as like an I Dream of Genie. And I draw them like coming out of a bottle with like a ponytail. And I draw the guys with like the muscles and the turban. And people would tape them to their desks, the drawings I made. And I just thought that was so cool. And I was lucky enough that my mom put me in drawing classes at about that age. So I started painting and drawing when I was quite young. And then when I got into high school, I was challenged to make drawings. So was taught to, draw like realism from magazines or pictures. And so I thought it would be great to take my own pictures so I could draw from them. And I remember setting up in my backyard in high school. Well, my sister Gina. And so I had Gina like dressed up as an angel, and I'd put up these white sheets and it ended up drawing her. But then I would go into my photo class, and my teacher's like, these are amazing, like the lighting and the model. And I was like, these are pretty cool, and I just love the whole magic of being in the dark room. You basically are painting with light. And I just thought it was super magical, and it was just such a good way to express myself.
Wow. So you said that both your mom was an artist and your dad was a musician. What kind of music did your dad play?
I remember him playing a lot of John Denver. So,
Mhm.
folk, shall we say? He
All
played the
right.
guitar. Yeah, he played the guitar. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And then as far as style of art, what was your mom really into?
She loved painting wild horses. My grandma told me she would they'd be at a restaurant and she'd be drawing a horse. My mom talked about how she would be in a car and she would imagine horses jumping over the fences as they drove. She just really loved horses, and it was all horses.
Wow, that's really cool. And
Yeah.
then so you predominantly grew up in the Salt Lake Valley, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I lived there most of my life from kindergarten until I was about 30.
All right. And then you said, I'm going to bounce and go and take a look at a couple of other states. And what was the first state that you moved to?
I moved to Los Angeles, of all places to move to, straight out of the gate, and I have to say it was the best thing I ever did for myself, for my career, and for my life. Utah's such an amazing place. I love going back there. I even dream of owning, like a condo or a home there one day, maybe even one day soon. But just to be able to expand yourself and your career, and LA to me is the most vibrant city I've ever been to. The art is amazing. There's surfing and music, and just there's like a lot of art in the world. But just, I mean, even in Portland, the art scene is just, it's very crafty, which is cool. But I'm really into high art, lowbrow art. I'm into all the art. And I was able to like meet Shepard Fairey and like go to all these amazing openings, and seeing all my friends who've been in bands start to like tour and make a living. And there's just something to be said about being an artist and being able to make a living at what you love to do. Otherwise you have to do other things, and then it makes your art not as powerful. And I think every artist struggles with that. But being able to be around like the most amazing artists, and now call them friends and work with them and help them with their work, it's been amazing.
Nice. So from LA, is that you went from LA to Portland then, right?
That's right. Just yet another culture change and culture shock. I'm really glad to be here. I am in a time in my life where I feel a lot more at ease and slower, and LA is such a hustle. I mean, I hustled my way in there and I hustled my way out to survive. And there's something to be said about being able to learn the hustle and work hard and all those things. But Portland has brought a little bit more balance into my life. Things are really slow here. People are slow. It's beautiful. The trees, like, oh my gosh, like just to live here, just to go camping. There's rivers and water and nude beaches, and I think that's where my bliss is, here in this town. So yeah, it's been fun to experience all the things.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said that you were a surfer, and then of course I didn't realize that you were on the women's snowboard team.
Yeah.
I mean, just for fun, how easy is it to transition? Like, what are the similarities with snowboarding and surfing? Because it seems like it would have a lot of really close similarities. But tell me more from your position.
To me, it feels natural. You know, I grew up skateboarding with all my skateboarding buds, started snowboarding when I was like in junior high. So surfing was just I remember sitting up at Brighton in Utah, and just being up there, and it's effing cold and it's windy and you're wearing all these clothes. And I was like, I've been down this hill a million times. I would trade this all in a minute for the beach. Ooh, fast forward, here I am on the beach, surfing with all my surf buds at the most amazing surf spot in the world. It's called Surf Rider. It's a first point. So it rolls in, you know, it has this really, really long, beautiful wave. And this whole beach is dedicated just to surfing. And I'm in my bikini and I'm not cold and I'm just under the sun. You know, there's just like nothing like it. And I used to swim every day at Steiner's in Utah,
Yeah.
and I went there so much so that you become like a local. You're like, oh, I know that person. I see them every day. I know that person. You're like, hi. You became friends with people, and that's kind of what happened with the surf culture. You know, I realized I saw my surf friends more than I saw any of my other friends, because you're out there every day. You're doing it every day. You love it. You're passionate about it, and your surfer friends are like 60 and 20, and they're all different ages, and you all just become so close. And it's just like, I just love surf culture. It's the best.
Wow. Would you say that it was hard to sort of transition from the talent of snowboarding to the talent of surfing, or were you able to pick up surfing pretty easily?
Surfing is the hardest sport I have personally ever done. You have to be so upper body strength strong, and you really have to learn how the waves work. I mean, it takes a month just to know how the ocean works, and like when the waves are walling out, they're dangerous, and you know, knowing the etiquette of surfing. And I did it for so long and I still suck at it. Snowboarding is like you do it for like 5 to 10 times. You're like, oh, okay, I got this, you know. Surfing for me is like you do it like 30 times and you're like, I'm kind of all right at this. It's hard. I think it's hard no matter what, but I think it was a little bit easier just because of my background.
Wow, that's really cool. I appreciate you sharing that part with us. I've always wondered how that sort of transition from those two sports looks. So, you are a wildly accomplished artist and photographer.
So
You're one of my favorites. You know,
thank
both
you.
Kate and I are always following you on social media and seeing all the really cool and unique things that you're involved with. What would you say is one of the tougher things that you've had to face as an artist, as making your full time living as an artist? What does that sort of look like?
The inconsistencies, the not having health insurance, the not having a savings or a home like maybe other people in professions have, people trying to talk you down and not valuing your work. Being a woman, being a woman in pretty much any, you know, any professions is really quite challenging. And in art and photography, it's no different. According to me, it's like 1 in 10 women who can maybe make it, and in art it's like 1 in 100. Sometimes it feels like 1 in 1,000, you know. um, all the museums are dominated by white men. The industry in photography is dominated by white men and men in general. And as a woman, you know, even I had to face my own misogyny within myself to realize I was raised that way, and I was raised to think that the men had the answers and that they were, you know, just more qualified than me because they were a man, you know. And I had to really work on breaking down those barriers within myself and within the people around me. um but yeah, being an artist, we all know it's so hard. You have to be in it through and through to just, and you have to sacrifice. I've sacrificed having the things that normal people have, having family, having a home, having, you know, those kind of things that we all, I don't want to say we all want them, but you know, it's a part of being a human. And I did sacrifice all that for my work, and I don't regret it, you know. But as you get older, you're like, oh shit, you know, like kind of got to start thinking about these things, and living life passionately is, I feel so rich in other ways. Like I have such an amazing, rich life that like every day I get up and celebrate myself, my work, my life. But you know, it's nice to have some security as well.
Yeah. Well, you actually just segued directly into that follow up question. Was what is one of your like or some of the most favorite things about the lifestyle that you live as a professional artist and photographer? You sort of touched on that, the freedom, the creativity. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, I love being me. I get to meet people all the time. I mean, even in my shop, you know, I opened up yesterday in my shop and I'm just meeting people from all over the world that come in that get drawn in by my brand, Alien Mermaid Cove, and I get to meet people and I get to share my work with people. I get to share myself with people. But it, you know, with my photography, I mean, I photographed Joe Jonas. I photographed the guys from Weezer. I was on stage with Wu Tang, like people holding me up, shooting Wu Tang. You know, like I mean, it's just so thrilling. It's so thrilling. And, you know, music has been a lifelong passion of mine. So to be able to like be photographing Grimes and
Yeah.
um oh my God, Julian Casablancas, like what? Like the guy from the Strokes, you know, you're just like, okay, this wouldn't be happening if I was like, I don't know, an engineer or something. So
Yeah.
and just being able to travel and as hard as I do work, I do have I don't do the 9 to 5. You know what I mean? I'm not like sitting at a desk all the time. I mean, photography, there's a lot of editing, but I'm in motion. I get to use my hands. Um, and as a creative, especially, you know, that's what I loved about moving to LA is I got to do all the things I'm passionate about. It wasn't just photography. I was modeling and getting paid for it. I was digiteching, I was styling, I was doing murals. Like I got to completely step in wholeheartedly into my creative path. And, you know, it's just exciting. Here in Portland, I don't do any of that stuff. Like, you know, when I moved to Portland, I had to be a nanny. You know, I had to really change my life a lot to live here. And if I would have known that, I would have made different choices. But um, such is life. I got free education on what's like to be a mom, and I got to see a lot of really great families and learn what it's like to see good fathers in motion and
Cool.
good parenting and learning how to work with the children and also connecting with kids. I mean, they have such creative spirits. They're so innocent and sweet. And there's just a part of me that loves to nurture. So it's not like that was a lost cause, you know, but it can be frustrating. So not being
Yeah.
able to like make a living from what you know that your purpose is.
Yeah, definitely. You know, so you touched on something that I thought, but let's expand on that a tiny bit. So, you know, as kids, we are all pretty creative and we think and we're imaginative and all these things. And then it seems like the older we get, the more truncated we get in our creativity and we're more like it seems like people are worried about what others are thinking or we can't think out of the box. Why, first of all, why do you as a professional artist think that that happens with kids where they're not able to sort of keep a hold of that creative side? And what would you maybe say to do differently that could help the kids stay creative going forward?
Yeah, you know, I do think that some people innately are creative, and I do see a lot of kids who are creative, but then I see kids who can be creative, but that's not their interests, you know? And I think it is all about the nurturing of how the parents are, like, are they nurturing that creativity in their kids, you know? And thank goodness my mom, she was an artist through and through, so she nurtured that. But I could see parents and I could see why there was a time in my life I was upset with my mom because I was like, why did you think this was an okay life plan for me? You know, like this was not a good idea to encourage me to be an artist. Like, um, you know, obviously I don't really feel that way, but there's moments where I felt frustrated, you know. I think nurturing and reminding your children, showing your kids expanders, artists, women artists who are making a living, you know, just reminding them that it's possible and showing them the path. And also, if they're not creative, don't force them to be an artist. Like, don't force them to do that. Not everyone should be an artist, and not everyone is creative. Like, they may have creativity, they may be artistic, but they may not be an artist, you know? And I think that people get those things confused. I do have a little bit of a pet peeve when people are like, I'm an artist. And you're like, oh, awesome. What do you do? And they're like, oh, I painted in high school. And you're like, okay, that's not like me saying I'm a doctor because, or like a mechanic because I like change the oil in my car. Like, it doesn't work like that. Art is a lifelong process. You dedicate your life to it to say you're an artist. You don't wake up and you're like, I'm an artist today. No, people start to call you an artist because you've been doing it for so long, you know? So yeah, and even with photography, I get annoyed when people say they're a photographer and they've never been in a dark room. They've never made their own prints. Then I'm like, you're actually an image capturer. There's two, it's actually two different things. It's a different craft. It's a different skill, you know, and it does people a disservice to people like me, who I actually am an artist. I actually am a photographer. I know how to use my camera. I've been in a dark room. I've made my own negatives, my own prints, you know, and I'm not just posting just on social media, you know. So I guess for me, there's a little bit of respect in those words that I think that people could, you know, learn about. And yeah, it's I could rant on that for ages. So
no, I appreciate you bringing that up. That is definitely very interesting. You know, because sometimes people might get into something and that's cool that they're getting into it, but they might sort of transition and sort of take on some of those sort of titles within like a couple of few weeks. And there's definitely a journey there. I mean, that's why I call this TV show Always the Journey, because it's about the journey of these things. And you can't just sort of wake up one day and, oh, you're an artist now, or you're a photographer, or, you know, you're a guitar player. Like, there's dues that need to be paid.
Agreed. Yeah, and I learned that, you know, one of my mentors was like, never call yourself an artist. You just sound ridiculous, you know? And I was like, oh, why? You know, like, okay, like, I'm learning. That's what mentors are for, you know? They're like, because it just sounds lame because, you know, just, I guess to them, it sounded kind of bougie or pompous. Like, you don't just call yourself an artist, you know? I remember kind of getting into a big debate at a party where this girl's like, I'm an artist. I was like, cool, what do you do? She's like, oh, I do styling. And I'm like, that's being called a stylist, you know? So I get that it's artistic and creative, and there are people who do styling and do different things who are artistic and can be artists. But, you know, like, just to call yourself an artist because you did styling a couple times in a photo shoot, you know?
Right.
It's different. So
yeah, definitely. So let's talk a little bit further about your craft. So obviously, again, you're a phenomenal artist. You're a phenomenal photographer. Those two things are very complicated, you know, as things to really sort of like become phenomenal at. What does that look like in your world, and how much time do you spend on either doing art in and of itself or photography in and of itself, or is it equal?
So I go in waves, and I've been doing this for 25 years.
Yep.
And sometimes you need to switch it up. You know, I'll get really into photography for like 4 or 5 years, and I'll do this crazy body of work and dedicate my whole everything to it. And then I'll be like, oh, that was nice. Okay, now I want to paint for like another 3 to 4 years, do a body of work, get it out there while I'm also working on my jewelry, or I'm also doing the styling and doing the other things. So for me, it goes in waves, you know, and everyone's like, well, what's your favorite thing? And it's just like, you know, I love them all. Like, I love, and they're so different. Like photography, it's so like, it's kind of masculine. It's linear. You gotta, you know, I mean, it's also feminine when the fact where you really have to open up the space for like magic to happen and creativity to flow and all those things. But like, you really have to know the skill. You have to know the craft. You got to know what your camera's doing. You got to know how to direct and tell people what to do. But painting is like, you're alone, you're in the studio, it's quiet, you're meditative, you're, you know, racking your brain for what on earth am I going to paint? You know, and for me, when I'm drawing, it's very childlike. It's like I'm doodling and I'm like, you know, drawing unicorns, you know, and like it's, you know, it just utilizes all these different parts of myself, and it's just fun to explore them all. And it's fun to just see them all combined too, you know. That's just what I love about art, you know.
Yeah.
You can't ever completely master any of it because there's so much to be great at. And even with photography, I go out and I shoot and I learn something new every single time. And it's just so exciting. And, you know, in my 20s, my 30s, I dedicated my whole life to it. I mean, to the point where like I could call myself a workaholic, you know. I mean, at the time too, I was using it as a way to express myself and really just validate my experience and all sorts of things. You know, I'm a lot more chill these days, where I actually appreciate naps and slowing down and not working so hard. I mean, my passion is still there, but it's just a lot more quiet.
Yeah.
You know, if you're at all like, I've worked with people who are like, oh, it's so expensive. Like, I know, you know, okay, my sister, for example, I love her so much. She's an amazing artist and a photographer, but she didn't want to spend her money on it. And like photography is expensive. And if you're sitting around going, oh, it's too expensive, it's probably not your passion, you know, like you'll find a way to do those things. You will find a way to make that stuff happen. And even as an artist, you learn how to be resourceful. You learn how to make something weird out of that yellow bowl that's been sitting in your garage for 2 years. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have this major idea for this yellow bowl, you know? So you just have to be resourceful and you got to dedicate your time and energy to anything to be good at it. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that for sure. Yeah, you know, it's funny because you did Kate and I's wedding photography, which we absolutely loved. It was phenomenal. By the way, if you're in need of a phenomenal wedding photographer, Teresa can do things and take things to a different level than I think that many wedding photographers do. They, you know, you add a style to it, and you add. I mean, it's almost like work. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, but you know what's funny is my profile picture on Facebook. You took.
Yeah, I love it. You look so handsome in your skirt.
Oh, thank you.
You know,
Oh,
my wedding photography has been published. I love shooting weddings because I love photographing people. And now you're photographing hundreds of people interacting and going through this magical, intimate experience that's going to happen hopefully once in your life, right? And I get to be there and I get to celebrate it. And I'm such a romantic cheese ball that I'm probably the one crying as I'm taking pictures, you know? So it's just absolutely my bliss.
oh, that is awesome. So Teresa, tell us now a little bit more about your shop, because you have a shop there in Portland, Oregon, right?
I do. Yeah, I love my shop. It's so awesome. So it's called Alien Mermaid Cove. It's on Alberta Street, which is in the Northeast Portland. It's just this amazing, vibrant street with world-renowned brunch spots. Tons of 4 of my favorite coffee spots are on this street. Lots of shopping. And so it's my photo studio. And right now we have the pop-up shop. So it's actually a little bit temporary. But a portion of the proceeds from Alien Mermaid Cove go to marginalized individuals to take art classes. And
Oh,
so
wow.
the whole mission of my store is to help support artists. It's a resell shop. So it's all sustainable. It's used clothing. It's stuff that I've curated over the years. I've spent at least 5 years curating my collection. It's totally inclusive. We have anyone can come in here and find something that they like. We're not brand snobs. We love any brand that looks cute on you, you know, like, which is great. We're saving the landfill from a more, you know, fashion waste. And then I have my in-house brand. It's my own collection. It's called Altered States. We take clothing that is on the way to the landfill. It either has a hole, a rip, a stain, and we upcycle it. We acid wash it. We screen print it, embroider it, and like just make it so much cooler. And it's our #1 seller in the shop. And a portion of those proceeds go to women artist grants. So our goal is that we will have a retail shop hopefully next year sometime. So I'm putting this out there. This is what you said, put it out there. Anyone who's interested in this business idea and our mission, I would love to talk to anyone who would be interested in either investing or partnering or any of that, because we really want to up level, get a new retail space where we will be teaching our classes. We can have the gallery in our store, and it's just such a place for community and getting together and meeting other creatives. And yeah, it's just it's bringing all my passions together in one place.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like it. So you've got this really cool centralized location where you're like sort of building out all of your creativity. And that sounds really amazing. So if someone wanted to come and let's say shop at your pop-up shop, is it by appointment only? Do you have set hours? What does that look like?
We're open on the weekends. We're open from 11 to 4. You can make an appointment. You can just DM me on Instagram. We have the Alien Mermaid Cove, Altered States, but frankly, I mostly just check my personal Teresa Flowers Instagram. There's only so many hours in the day. And you can DM me and make an appointment. And sometimes just when I'm here to work, like framing stuff or photo stuff, like I was open all day yesterday. I was going to try to open today, but it's kind of like when I feel like it, which is also kind of awesome to have a business that supports me, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about the back to the photography. I know that you travel. You've traveled all over the United States. If someone wanted to hire you, what geographic locations do you really like to focus on?
Well, right now, I'm located on the West Coast. But frankly, I would go to Japan if you paid me. I would go anywhere. I love to travel. I love experiencing new things. I'm in Salt Lake a ton. I'm in LA a ton. Obviously, I'm in Oregon. I go to Seattle a lot. I go to New York for New York Fashion Week. I'm your girl. So wherever you want to go, let's go, as long as it can be comfortable. So mostly
Awesome.
comfortable, mostly comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us a little bit more about what does your sort of perfect client look like? So if someone was to hire you for photography, because you can also do, I mean, well, any kind of photography, right? If someone was a model and they wanted to be photographed, I mean, you can do D all the above. Tell us, is there two or three things that you really like to focus on for your photography, and then who does that client look like? As in, like, who makes your best client, so to speak?
I love fun, open people. I mean, even here yesterday, there was a girl like trying on bralettes, and she was just kind of just trying them on, and wasn't like weird. It was like I love open people, fun people. Like, I love my clients who were like, be your artist self. Hiring me because of my style, where I get to make the people look long and elegant, like my fashion photography, and then maybe make them look artsy and like, and I shoot anything, everything. I've been shooting for 25 years. I can shoot it all. And my passion is photographing people. So as long as there's a person in there, I'm probably in my bliss. But I can also do the product stuff. I've been doing it forever. It's fine too. But a client who values me, values my work that I do, and is willing to help support me in my purpose.
Yeah, that's perfect. Great answers there for sure. So what is the best way to get a hold of you? If someone wanted to hire you or even just connect with you on social media, like what are some of the best ways to contact or connect with you?
I would DM me. I'm quick on the DMs. Sometimes people call me and they leave a message and I don't know for like a month. So send me a text. I'm a texter, a DMer. I will get on the phone with clients, to talk things through once, so we can be on the same page and all those things. So I have a website, you can find my email on the website. Yeah, just reach out anyway, all the ways.
All right, awesome. And also, I know that you drew a or painted. I apologize. You painted a picture or a portrait of Kate and I, and it was magnificent. We love it to pieces. Can people hire you also to do something like that on a more sort of like? Can they send you a photo and have you paint it in that kind of a fashion? I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now I've been working as an art director, so I wear many hats, and currently I'm illustrating avatars for a health company. So, I mean, I literally love to do all the things because it keeps me growing and
Yeah.
changing. I mean, I've done murals for restaurants, I've done posters for brands and bands, I've done branding. I just rebranded a whole healthcare company and did their website and their app. And the avatars are so cool. It's totally in my style. It's really fun. Drawing is one of my favorite things to do.
Wow. Okay. This has definitely been very fruitful in being able to learn about the breadth of all of your styles and expertise and all these things. Is there anything that you think I may have missed that we need to know about Teresa Flowers?
Well, I'm really into self-development, so I love that you reached out to me. It's one of my lifelong passions. My mother was a therapist and an artist, and I love self-development. I love growing as a person and learning about myself and working through my own blocks. And I'm really into the art of manifesting and actualizing and share. I love to, share my heart, So, um, yeah, I mean, there's so many things to know about me. I've been in bands that has been really fun. I also have my own podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I've produced some of the world's largest independent photography and art fairs.
Wow.
I do it all. I love it. It's so fun. And I just feel like I'm just getting started. So
I
I'm excited.
love that.
I'm excited about what I'm going to create next. There's such this thing in our society that when you get to your middle age that somehow you're like done, and I
Right.
hear it from my girlfriends all the time. Like, I'm just old now. And I'm just like, nobody wants me in my 40s. And I'm just like, I'm more vibrant than ever and I'm just getting started. And you could come with me and be on my tip if you want, or you could be over there and be old. So I just want to encourage anyone, no matter whatever age you are, be your bad self and be so, so vibrant. And don't let anyone tell you that you're something that you're not.
That was so awesome. I was literally going to say, what would be your message to someone who might be, I mean, it's like you're reading my mind. And then you did this hair flip, which was absolutely awesome. So, oh my gosh, that was way cool.
You have to be your own hype team. And it's such a hard world. The world's so hard and it's so fucked. Sorry. It's so
You're all right.
It's so effed. And you know what? If you're not having a good time and you don't love who you are and you don't love what you're doing, switch it up. It's a
Yeah.
long life. There's so many things you can do.
I 100% agree. I love that attitude. I love your go get attitude and your optimism. That's exactly how I live my life too. It's like, I don't care what age I am. Like, I'm still like, okay, what's this next thing? How are we going to build this and grow this and do all these things? Like, I honestly don't even think of age at all. Like,
I feel like I'm ageless. Like people meet me and they're like, my doctor thought I was 34. I'm dating cute 32-year-old guys. Like I just feel like I'm just as vibrant as I've ever been. And obviously there's the things of getting older that you're like, and you just have to ease into it. And you just have to slow it down a little bit. And you know what? That's totally good. It's good for you. Um, yeah, life can be so, so fun. And you can learn anything you want to learn on YouTube for reals. Like, don't let that hold you back. Like, I go online and learn new stuff every single day. I'm constantly trying to learn.
I love it. That is awesome. So I've got a final question right before we move to the wrap up. What is one of your favorite quotes or one of your favorite songs or both?
Okay. Well, I have a favorite poem.
Okay. Well, who is it by? What is it?
E. E. Cummings. I will read it for you.
Yes, please.
Okay. I, who have died, am alive again today. And this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and love and wings and the gay, great happening, unlimitably, Earth. How could tasting, touching, seeing, breathing, the thought of all nothing, doubt, unimaginable, you. Now the ears of my ears awake, now the eyes of my eyes are open. I'm going to name my first kid E. I think.
I love it.
Yeah, and I have so many favorite songs. But the first one that comes to my mind is Season of the Witch by Donovan. So we'll just roll with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this has definitely been so great. Teresa, you are definitely a bright light in the world. I'm extremely thankful to call you a friend. I'm thankful that you're continuing to put your art and your photography out there into the world. I want you to continue And I can't wait to see what these next steps are for you, because I know you're always in this planning and creating and building mode. And I know that you're never going to stop, and it's only going to get brighter and brighter.
Thank you so much. And I feel the same way about you. Such a bright light, always such a motivational person. And anyone who knows you loves you. And it just makes my day to get to spend time with you today.
Oh, you're amazing. I appreciate it so much. I will have you hang out in the green room for just a couple of moments while I wrap up the show, if that's all right.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time to learn more about me. I really appreciate it. Come say hi to me online.
Oh, you're amazing, Teresa. Thank you. Hang tight just a couple of moments. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Theresa Flowers. This is episode number 56 of Always the Journey TV. Be sure to follow her on Instagram, Facebook, all the social platforms. She blows it up out there and makes amazing things happen. Her art is next level. Be sure to follow her. Again, just Theresa Flowers. You can find her online all over the place. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate it. Please give us a thumbs up on the video if you liked it, which I know you did. And if you have any questions, please throw them in the comments below. If I don't have the answer, Teresa will. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And let me close it out with this amazing tune that DJ Deo put together for me back in 2017.